Who are you? What's your role? And where do you work?
Yeah, so hello. My name is Asaf Savich. I'm working at Commodore. I'm the director of AI engineering, as I said, in Commodore. And yeah, happy to meet you guys.
So a Kubernetes setting can look wrong, but still feel risky to change once it's already in production. Requests, limits, auto-scaling, or probe. What would you tell a team that sees the problem, but is nervous the fix could cause an outage?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because once we do a change, it could be any change. It could do like a lot of good things, but along with it could do a lot of bad things to our production environment. So what we suggest to do is like follow the best practices that has today, right? Not pushing directly to production, to have it first in a staging, dev, sandbox environment, so we can test and check it. And even when we push it to production, if we feel this fix could be risky or anything of that nature, what we suggest is just to release it gradually, to release it to 10% of the traffic, 20% of the traffic. And once we gain enough trust to make sure that the fix that we've just implemented is doing the things that we intended it to be, then we roll it out to production, 100%. But also, once with that, we have like a kill switch that in case shit hit the fan, we can just bring it back and turn it off and just going back to the previous fix issue.
Missing readiness checks usually shows up through something concrete. Traffic reaches a pod too early, auto-scaling behaves strangely, or users report errors. If a team wanted to catch this before users do, where would you have them look first?
Yeah, so that's a really good question as well. So first, we suggest to have like a profound monitor system to have you controlled and guarded, and have the control system, other than Kubernetes, do the checks as well. So relying on Kubernetes is great, and on its readiness checks, probe checks, etc., is amazing, but the fact that only once it gets to the actual resource, you do the checks and only then understand there's an issue, you're in a problem. So what we suggest is a few things. One, to have some kind of a green-blue deployment. So if the readiness checks doesn't pass, the previous deployment still is not being scaled down. That's first. Second, to have it also in another environment for you to check and make sure that everything is working properly. And third, and maybe the most interesting in today's scenario, is have an AI agent to do these checks for you. If you have an AI agent that do the checks as Kubernetes would have done, it reduces a lot of the risk that introducing with readiness checks and anything of that nature that could potentially indicate that the system is correcting wrongfully, and it will create a downtime or stuff that even worse. Yeah.
Now, production readiness reviews can happen before launch, after incidents, during audits, or not formally at all. What would you put in place so Kubernetes readiness gets reviewed before it becomes urgent?
Yeah, so yeah, this is a difficult question. And the reason it's difficult because nobody likes production reviews. It always comes in a very bad timing. You always curse yourself, curse the word. Why did I come up to this? Because on one hand, it is very important, right? We want our production to be as stable as possible. And on the second, we have our day-to-day. We have urgent stuff that is also always getting the line. So actually, my recommendation is to take things on a much simpler level, to have also an AI agent that knows your organization, knows your infrastructure, understand the pain points, understand what are the questions and inquiries that are being raised in like reviews, in production reviews such as this. Either they are like informally that are taking place within the organization, or formally that you need to provide to some vendor or third party or like a yearly review that you are performing. If you're always prepared and you have an agent that you only do minor optimizations here and there, so you are safe all the time, and when that formally and scary review comes, you are ready. You don't need to do more than this. So this makes your life much easier, put you in a secure place without compromising on quality, security, etc.
We're hearing all about AI all the time in this conference and every conference we go to. I know that Commodore does a lot of work on the AI SRE. There are still a lot of folks in the Kubernetes ecosystem that aren't 100% sure that AI is a great thing to be using on Kubernetes. Where do you feel that it's most useful, and where do you feel like it's still just not there yet?
Yeah, that's also a hard question. So first, as we see the model getting improved and improved and improved, we see that the volume and the amount of issues, problems, stuff like that AI can solve is getting bigger and bigger. So I thinking like just neglecting this part, I think is being wrongly justice to the AI. And I think we should use AI. We should use to prove it, but we need to put the correct guardrails. I think AI should be in every investigation. I think an SRE or a platform engineer that is not using AI to solve issues today is doing something wrong. You don't have to accept its result. You don't have to rely on it, but to use it for your investigation, I don't see any reason why not. So that's first. So I think it's amazing. In most cases, it will help you resolve the issues. In other cases, you just got another really good advice from someone that you don't need to take or you don't have to take. So I think AI is getting better and better, and it's already at the point where it can resolve 95% of the issues. So let's talk about the interesting part, the other 5%, where it's not. Usually today, what we see with the context window, it's getting bigger and bigger, but it's not in the point in where the AI can read tons of context and understand what is going on. In a very complex production environment, in a very complex system, when there's a lot of log, events, metrics, numbers, these are stuff that the AI engine is not that good so far. So in this case, I would add another integrations, agents, MCP, that can take this like big bombastic error and to nail it down and to summarize it and bring it to a point in which the main AI agent that investigates the issue can understand the context without having to read million lines of logs. So the job is not only about like investigating and have like a main agent to troubleshoot, etc., etc. It's also having sub-agents to help you tackling these mini processes such as summarizing, understanding metrics, understanding timeline, etc. Getting this big context and put it into something digestible for the main agent, the orchestrator, would be able to tackle and investigate properly.